into One-on-One on OSU Student Radio KXUY Suddenly, Channel 112, live from Studio 318 here at Oklahoma State University. Our second to last show of the semester. We have a good one ahead of you, talking some college football, some NFL, get into a little bit of NBA stuff, and then we have a jam-packed OSU last two segments. Wade Haugen from the O'Collies coming down. But I'm Reed Spencer, joined by my co-host Logan Mosier, as always, and we will dive into the Urban Meyer situation.
How many times we had to talk about that guy this year?
We were done. I thought we were done.
I know. I thought we were done in October.
How many times did you ask me, do you think he'll retire at the end? And I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, I asked you quite a bit.
I never one time said yes.
Yeah.
And he's out the door.
And to be fair, you were kind of saying he wouldn't retire for the sake of the scandal that was going on, and he didn't.
Yes.
Officially, he's retiring because of, obviously, he has the cyst on his brain that leaks and causes him terrible headaches. And I seemed the best option for him was to just stop coaching to fix that problem. But do you really think that's the real reason? Not saying that he's faking that. Do you think that's the main reason, though?
I said last night 80-20.
Yeah.
80% he's sick, and 20%, and they just kind of went hand in hand and pushed each other over the edge. I don't know what to think about Urban Meyer. 17 seasons in college football, obviously. He won 186 games and 3 national championships. He won a conference title 9 different times at Bowling Green, Utah, Florida, and Ohio State. What's his legacy?
He's a good football coach. I think that's first, obviously, if we're just talking about football. But he is not the perfect person. Obviously, the stuff that went on at Florida that he covered up, the stuff at Ohio State that he covered up and just came out this year from Brett McMurphy. I think at the end of the day, he'll be remembered as a great football coach in 10, 15, 20 years. That's all he'll be remembered for. But there will be guys that are our age, that are in the media, that will always kind of, hopefully they always remember that Urban Meyer wasn't a perfect person.
Well, I think we were both pretty critical of Urban Meyer when all this stuff broke, when we first started doing the show of the semester, and Brett McMurphy and Zach Smith and all of this was coming out. We didn't know if he was going to coach at all, if he's going to be fired, what was going to happen, and I couldn't believe what Urban Meyer had done. Wasn't really that shocked by it because I think a lot of these guys are like that.
Yeah.
But now I was reading these articles earlier today about all the success he had, and being very ill at times, and how he left Florida because of that. And the idiot I am is sitting there going, man, I really am going to miss this guy in college football. I can't believe I let my fandom and my love for college football, and I call myself an idiot because I was the one who was most critical of it, and I'm sitting here making excuses for the guy, like, no, he can get healthy, he can play, because I don't want Urban Meyer out of the game of college football.
Mm-hmm.
Was the game worse off with Urban Meyer in it? I don't think so, to be honest with you, because there's so much that goes unreported and everything like that. Urban Meyer is not the reason we have problems in college athletics. He's not the reason we have problems in society. He aided them, but I could sit there and I'm thinking, what if Ohio State's not good? College football's worse off if Ryan Day, who's the offensive coordinator, is going to replace him, and everyone's confident in him.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he's going to win when it comes down to it.
Right.
So his legacy for me is going to be one of the greatest college football coaches that I ever saw growing up. But I will still know this. But already, the day after he's retired, I'm convincing myself of what a great coach he is, and I'm forgetting what happened while I'm reading these articles. And so I'm guilty of what I criticize the most. And so I can already tell you, if I'm thinking that way today, 20 years down the road, when my kid asks me about Urban Meyer, yeah, that guy could coach. And the other stuff's probably not going to come up. And that if I'm thinking that way, hardcore college football fans are probably thinking that way, and that's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, he will be remembered as one of the best coaches of our lifetimes, at least. Maybe, probably one of the best ever. Let's see. It's Nick Saban, obviously, number one. And then just in the past, let's just say since 2000, is Urban Meyer
since
number
the turn
two?
of the century,
he's number two. Yeah. So, I mean, that's how he'll be remembered, I think, at the end of the day. He'll be remembered as one of the best. People will forget. Time, that just happens with time. People forget about all the bad stuff, and they only remember really what the good people did, unless they're truly like an awful person.
Right, yeah.
But I don't think that is quite the case with Urban Meyer. He was just a guy that made mistakes, and like you said, he didn't make the game worse. He probably made the game better because he made Ohio State better. And when programs like Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Florida, OU, Texas, Notre Dame, USC, places like that, when they're good, college football is better for it. Mm-hmm. So, like you said, hopefully Ohio State can continue their success because it helps college football.
Well, I asked you what his legacy would be. He retired from Florida because of health problems.
Yeah, and then he was back.
And then a year later, after a year in the booth, he was back again. He was an alum of Ohio State. He's from Ohio. This was his dream job, according to him. And by all accounts, the health stuff is worse than it ever has been, with the headaches, the migraines, and everything that he's got going on. But I just have a hard time believing that if he sits at home for 2 seasons and he's starting to feel better, he's not going to want a job again.
Yeah, but I think he'll remember how he felt at the end of this, because like you said, this was his dream job, and he was unhealthy enough to walk away from it. So I don't know. It would have to be another big-time program that would have to call him and offer him a head coaching job, I think, to get him back out there, especially with the way this last month seemed to go. We saw him doubled over in pain on the sidelines multiple times in multiple games. So I understand where you're coming from. I could see him making a return in a couple years, but it would have to be a big-time job.
I think there's one job that Urban Meyer would take. Just one. If it comes open, there's only one job that could draw him out of retirement and get him to deal with the health issues that he did. They're a historic program and a program that could pay him. Do you know who that is? Notre Dame is the only job that he would take. And I think that if something were to happen with Brian Kelly, that would be their first call.
Yeah.
And I think he may not take it, but that's the only job he would seriously consider.
Yeah, and I don't think he'd take that job. I think, especially if Brian Kelly leaves in the next couple of years, I think it has to be at least 4 years before he even considers it.
He's only 54.
Right.
I mean, you're looking at Les Miles and Nick Saban. They're in their 70s.
Yeah.
So if he could be healthy, he would have a long time ahead of him. But certainly, at the end of the day, you want Urban Meyer to be healthy no matter what took place at Ohio State or took place at Florida.
Yeah.
But Urban Meyer is out after 7 seasons at Ohio State. Ryan Day replacing him as head coach of the Buckeyes. He's supposedly still going to be involved in the program around or whatever you want to say. So other news in college football, Kelly Bryant, the former Clemson quarterback who was replaced by Trevor Lawrence, is headed to the University of Missouri.
Yeah.
16-2 as a starter at a 66% completion percentage, passed for over 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, had 1,000 on the ground, and 15 touchdowns on the ground as well. A pretty good college football player, took Clemson to an ACC championship and the college football playoff before being replaced by Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. This is seems like pretty good news for Mizzou.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a ton of success there. We already saw Mizzou can score points this year, and OSU's going to be playing them in the bowl game. Thank goodness he is not eligible to play in the bowl game. Otherwise, I think OSU would be even more trouble than they already are. But I think he's going to have a lot of success there. I think Mizzou still kind of thinks they're in the Big 12 a little bit. They like to play a lot of offense, not a ton of defense like the SEC is kind of known for. I think this is a good move for him. I think he found a good school.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that he didn't go to Arkansas, with Chad Smith being his former offensive coordinator and the guy who recruited him to Clemson. I was kind of surprised that he didn't join the Razorbacks down in Fayetteville, but passed up Auburn and some other schools that have had success offensively. Barry Odom is the defensive head coach, but Derek Dooley, the former Tennessee head coach, is now the offensive coordinator at Mizzou. So, I mean, I guess it's a good fit. They're losing a 4-year starter in Drew Lock. Mm-hmm. I think there was better options out there for Trevor Lawrence, but for Kelly Bryant, but something made Kelly Bryant, say Columbia's the place I want to be. He's going to the SEC. I think that their offense is going to be scary good next year. Scary good. So some Big 12 news, sort of. Cliff Kingsbury no longer in the conference. Yeah. He is headed out to USC to be their offensive coordinator after it was reported last week then
he denied it.
He was offered multiple jobs from the NFL and around college football.
Yeah.
How long do you think he stays at USC?
I think he'll get another head coaching job in maybe 3 years. Does that sound about right to you? 3-4 years? I don't think he should be another head coach in college football, and I certainly don't think he should have ever been one on the NFL level, because what did he win? What did he win in the Big 12? What was his offense so good for? What was 8 wins was their best season under him?
8-5 was his best season.
Everyone likes to talk about how much of an offensive genius this guy had the potential to be, and how he could take a guy like Aaron Rodgers to the next level. I saw a lot of people saying he should take the Packers job. He doesn't know how to win games. He seems to be well versed in the offense that he likes to run. He's very good at that, and I think that's where he should stay. I think he should stay at that OC position. I just wouldn't trust him with my program as the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think Texas Tech hired him far too young, and I think he probably learned from mistakes, and he could learn from being at USC. I think he's at USC for 1 year before a team will take a chance on him. I don't think he's definitely. This is not a long-term.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah, well, Clay Helton's trying to save his job because he's 5-7. They gave him one more chance, and if he misses, if this offense doesn't get turned around, they'll both be out of there.
You don't think they'll put him as head coach at USC if they like him?
One, that would be hilarious. And two, no, I don't think they will, because USC's been on a slide ever since they let Pete Carroll walked away to join the NFL. Yeah, they're gonna have to, a prominent athletic director in Lynn Swann, obviously a former NFL guy. They've got a lot of big boosters. They're gonna have to find the right guy. I don't think that's Clay Helton, but we'll see what Cliff Kingsbury can do to help him. So the other program that was marred by controversy in the offseason, and which was much more serious because somebody lost their life, and that's the University of Maryland. They hired their new head coach. Oh, no. The offensive coordinator at Alabama, Mike Locksley, is the new head coach of the Terrapins. He's going to stay on at Alabama through the remainder of the season on what they win. This guy, have you read anything about him?
This
will be his third stint at Maryland, which one time he took over as the interim head coach, and he was the head coach over parts of 3 seasons at New Mexico. I'm not even sure what that means. But what do you think?
They traded it off. Him and some other guys switched every week.
Well, where he's the head coach, what do you think his record is, including 16 games from 2009 to 2011 at New Mexico and 6 games as interim head coach in 2015 at Maryland?
Out of 22 games, what's his record?
Yes.
3-19?
He is 2-20.
I was so close.
He was 1-5 at Maryland as the interim coach and 1-15 in 3 seasons.
Wow.
At New Mexico.
At parts of 3 seasons.
Matt Canada went 5-7 as the interim head coach of Maryland this year. 5 wins in 1 season, didn't make a bowl game, and he's got a better record. Already more wins than this guy.
That's not good. That's not a good hire.
I've always said that sometimes in situations like you had at Baylor, at Penn State, even Ohio State, I guess you could throw in there now, you don't always have to find the best X's and O's guy. You just have to find the right human being that can get the program turned around in the right direction for your players. But this guy's 2-20.
He must be a really great guy, or they believe in him for some reason.
Well, some reason they do. So he's headed to Maryland after the end of the Alabama Crimson Tide's
championship run.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, come back and talk about some news in the NFL and the NBA. We'll be right back on One-on-One. Ocean Student Radio KXUI, Suddenlink Channel 112.
One-on-One is brought to you by Tinker Federal Credit Union. Visit facebook.com/TinkerFCU. While you're there for your family, we're there for you. Tinker Federal Credit Union. And OSU Communications. Not sure where to park? OSU Communications has got you covered with parking tips and bus schedule information. We'll be right back.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Welcome back into 101 on OSU Student Radio KXUI Suddenlink Channel 112, live from CU 318. As you're seeing there, Josh Allen had a pretty decent day against the Dolphins.
That's the greatest athlete of all time right there, Josh Allen.
He does have an arm. He had a chance to win the game, and he threw the one dead duck of the day.
So close, though. It was only like a yard short.
Well,
maybe 2 yards short. It was so close.
His talent could not save Kelvin Benjamin from being cut from the Buffalo Bills, because after 18 games, he's gone. So he's looking for a job.
Oh my gosh, what a waste of talent.
Well, he was traded from Carolina last year for a third or in the 7th round draft pick.
And then you cut him.
So over/under on the yards he got. I have a stats that he had in Buffalo.
Okay.
Over or under 600 yards receiving? Under. Under or over 30 receptions?
Over?
Oh, you've hit on 2. How many touchdowns did he have? Over 5 or under 5?
Under 5.
Under 5. He had 39 receptions, 571 yards, and 2 touchdowns in 18 games. You hit on all 3.
I like it.
You're very intelligent, Logan. Kelvin Benjamin has struggled with attitude, commitment, and weight.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it earlier this year. What was the headline? Josh Allen asked him if he wanted to run routes in pregame, and he said, no. What? You're supposed to be the #1 guy for this guy, and he wants to get reps in with you before a game, and you say no. What?
No. Do you want to run routes?
No.
No. Oh my gosh. He had a public feud with Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He's calling out Cam Newton, saying he would have been a better receiver if he had done that, and he really, really ticked off the football gods because they stuck him with Nathan Peterman for 6 games. And that guy is the worst this league has ever seen. So, Kelvin Benjamin if he's claimed off waivers, they owe him the rest of the $8 million. If no one claims, and the Bills have to pay it on that rookie deal. So no one's probably going to claim him. He'll get signed in free agency, but this guy has got to get a lot of stuff cleaned up.
I don't think he will. Like, if he wasn't going to, okay, I can get him having problems in Carolina and then getting shipped out somewhere, and that's when you want the guys to fix it. If it doesn't work in the first place, that's fine. You got drafted there. You didn't get a choice. And he didn't necessarily get a choice whenever he got traded, but something should have clicked like, oh man, they didn't want me. I wonder why. I need to make sure these guys don't get rid of me for the same reasons, which is probably exactly what happened, except they couldn't find someone stupid enough like Buffalo to give up a 2nd and a 3rd round pick. Because that's what Carolina just got, right? That's what you just said?
3 and a 7.
A 3 and a 7. So no one else was going to give that up for Kelvin Benjamin. And the fact that you won't work with your quarterback on routes is ridiculous. And then he goes after Cam Newton in the media. And Cam Newton, I think, clearly came out on top of that, especially even before Benjamin got cut. But I don't know. Do you think anyone will sign this guy in free agency? And if so, who?
Somebody will pick him up. I don't think it'll be a top-tier team. You're not going to see New England go after this guy. Actually, maybe you will. And they'll turn him into a pro and he'll get a big contract somewhere else. I mean, he's been in Carolina in both conferences now. I mean, there's still the talent there. He's going to have to prove himself in camp.
Yeah.
But he is worked his way out of some money, I'll tell you that.
Do you think that someone's going to have to give him an Eddie Lacy-style contract where there's incentives based on his weight?
Yeah, Don Terry Poe type stuff where it's like, I mean, it's going to be probably a highly incentivized contract that he signs, but he has cost himself a lot of guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, you don't have to be that good. I mean, you look at the deal Sammy Watkins got. Sammy Watkins was never that good, and he got that good money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he will find a spot, but whether you find a permanent spot or if he's working at Foot Locker in 2 years, I don't know. But he's not on the right track right now.
No, he's on track for Foot Locker.
Not on the commercials.
No,
working.
Yeah, he's working.
Nothing wrong with working there, by the way. But when you're a 5-year NFL pro, with that much talent,
with Pro Bowl potential, like he had a lot of talent coming into the league,
and he's wasted it.
Yeah,
he wasted an opportunity to be with an All-Pro quarterback, to be in Buffalo. I know he didn't choose Buffalo, but obviously was traded there, and he can't get the job done. So he will land with a team in free agency. He will get into a camp, but he's going to have to prove himself. Somebody who has sort of proved themselves, sort of not. Their career stands on one play, and that would be a butt fumble.
It's not a good play.
The Washington Redskins are going to have to start Mark Sanchez after Colt McCoy broke his fibula Monday night, after Alex Smith broke his leg. So obviously Colt McCoy's wasn't as gruesome as Alex Smith's, but 2 broken legs, and now they're on a third-string quarterback. He looked like a guy who had been there for 9 days going into this game. He's going to get more comfortable with it. He's comfortable with the offensive coordinator, but the Redskins now,
it's not looking good.
What are they? 6-6, 5-7, a couple of losses in a row. The Redskins are on a downhill slide. They talked about bringing in Colin Kaepernick. That didn't work out. They felt more comfortable with Mark Sanchez, but are any of us confident that Mark Sanchez can lead the Redskins to... We had our doubts about Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
I had my doubts about Alex Smith in Washington. Wasn't really working out. Didn't really work out with Colt McCoy. Yikes.
Yeah. I don't see this working out. I don't see this as a playoff team. I mean, they're 6-6 right now. They're scheduled... I don't want to say it's tough, but it seems like it's tough for them. Against the Eagles, their biggest play of the game was a 90-yard run by Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson finished the game with 95 yards and a touchdown. That was it.
He had a 90-yard touchdown run and finished the game with 95 yards?
Yeah.
That's the most Washington Redskins Jay Gruden stat.
Yeah, 98 yards, my bad. Finished with 98 yards, had a 90-yard touchdown run.
Well, as bad as this game was, it doesn't compare to the Andy Reid Philadelphia Michael Vick massacre that happened 8-9 years ago on Monday Night Football, where Deshaun Jackson scored on the first play of the game. That's one of my favorite games of all time in Monday Night Football history. But yeah, the Redskins have got to get some stuff figured out.
Yeah, coming up, they got the Giants at Jacksonville, at Tennessee, and then home again for Philadelphia to end the season.
Well, they're going to have to win out to make the playoffs.
I was going to say, I don't see them 10-6 at the end of the year.
I could see them 8-8, 7-9, 8-8.
You haven't beaten the Giants and...
the Jags.
Okay. I could see that. But I could also see them losing to the Giants. The Giants have been playing semi-well.
Which is dumb.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon Barkley seems to be doing wonders for that offense, since they don't have Eli Manning anymore. Oh, wait, they do. He's just awful.
Yeah, it's been a week for the Washington Redskins, but I think you and I can agree. Maybe it's time to move on from Jay Gruden, take a step back look at everything going on there. But having to start Mark Sanchez off 9 days is not.
He did recover a fumble with his butt on Saturday or on Monday. I know Barrett says it was with his legs, but it was with his butt.
Showing steady improvement.
Yeah,
steady improvement.
It's the opposite.
Mark Sanchez.
It's the opposite.
Oh man. Oh, jump over to. By the way, speaking of Barrett, that fantasy football is the worst thing on the face of the earth. Lost 104.5 to 104.4.
Barrett's team's too good. His Redskins are not that great, but his fantasy team is fantastic.
0.1. I'm coming after him. I'll meet you in the playoffs.
Just wait for stat corrections.
I will see you in the playoffs, Barrett. So we'll jump over to the NBA when Markelle Fultz has been diagnosed with erratic outlet syndrome, a nerve damage in his shoulder that affects his range of motion. So when he's shooting a basketball, it's obviously is damaging to his shot. He's out 3 to 6 weeks and will rehab in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
It's good for Fultz. He finally got a diagnosis that said there's something wrong with him that wasn't, up here. It wasn't the yips. He wasn't faking himself out. So hopefully he can rehab from this, get it right, because he had a lot of potential coming out of college. He was the #1 pick for a reason. The Sixers believed in him enough to draft him #1. So hopefully he can at least get another try with Philadelphia. And if not, they have to sell him to someone, get some kind of value on him, and he deserves that too, just to get another start somewhere else. But I think this will help.
So I wasn't really sure what the treatment over these next 3 to 6 weeks were. Have you read anything about what the treatment and the steps he's going to have to take?
I have not.
I haven't either. So
I was trying to understand just even what the
injury was.
Like what even was it, TEO or TO, something about that. I can't remember exactly, but I was just trying to figure out what that meant.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of rehabbing in LA. Am I too much of an anti-NBA guy to understand this?
I think so. I mean, you saw Kawhi. He rehabbed in New York last year, and not to say that Markelle Fultz is going to go somewhere else, but that's just where the specialists are.
Well, luckily
for some of these things,
you don't need your knee to play Fortnite.
That's right.
So Kawhi was all right.
Yeah, but I think it just depends on where the specialists for these guys are, and I think Markelle Fultz, I don't know if it's a team doctor, a team appointed specialist, or if it's his own doctor, but I think that's just where it is. And LA's a nice place to be. I don't think it means anything about where he wants to be or anything like that.
So I'm not like they haven't talked about it, or we haven't read about it or heard about what the rehab is, but you would like to think that he could be able to do that with the team and be around the team.
Yeah, but maybe he does need that space to get away from basketball for a little bit to clear his head. Because I said it wasn't all up here in his head, but I think part of it still is his mental bearings about the game. So I think getting away, getting rehab, getting good will help him a lot.
So do you think that he was, obviously I think he made the right decision by going against kind of what you saw Kawhi do, and he hasn't been hurt or had the negative attention quite like Kawhi, but that was a full season.
Right.
But the team wanted him to play, and he went to specialist after specialist until he got enough answers on what this was. And to be honest, being a second-year guy, everyone's been kind of hard on him, and I do think he's a bust, and I don't see him recovering. But good on him for continuing to go to specialists and get the answers that he needed, because some guys won't do that.
Yeah, no, I'll always support a guy going against the team, going to his own doctors, because team doctors have an incentive to get you out there and playing for the team, no matter what they say. The team can say whatever, but at the end of the day, if the team's paying the doctor, not that I don't trust them, but
right.
I would be wary of some diagnosis. Like with Kawhi, he was obviously right to seek his own help, and now he's playing obviously amazing basketball in Toronto. So I'm hoping Markelle Fultz can kind of do something like that.
Yeah, obviously
not to the level of Kawhi Leonard. I don't want to get that mixed up. Okay.
I don't know. Hey, he might be in New York Knicks.
He could. He'd help them lose a lot of games.
Well, he's playing about as many games as Porzingis right now, so it's working out well for everyone. We're going to take a quick break. We have a guest, Wade Haugen from the O'Colly, coming up to talk about these football transfers, maybe a little basketball, and our most successful sport, cowboy wrestling. We're going to take a quick break on One-on-One. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Christian University. Get your master's degree in accounting, business administration, theology, engineering, computer science, or cybersecurity from Oklahoma Christian University. Apply at oc.edu/grad. Oklahoma University is committed to offering the best graduate school experience we possibly can. Come learn and grow with us. And The Table. Stop by The Table on Thursdays at 8 p.m. to join their Bible study. Shoot Rachel an email at rachel@thetableosu.com for more information. We'll be right back.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
Welcome back into 101 on Ocean Student Radio KXCY Summit, Channel 112 live from Studio 318, joined by Wade Haugen from the Ocala. He knows all the juicy details about what's going on in Oklahoma State athletics right now. We'll start with the transfers from Oklahoma State. We've got a bowl game. That's exciting. We limped to 6-6 really, but now everyone's at 6-6, so the sky's falling, right? So we'll go over these transfers. Darian Daniels may be going to Nebraska to play with his brother. Jalen McCluskey, which we've known about for a while. Tulane, J.D. King, Justice Hill, Larry Williams, and Jordan Brailford are going to the NFL. Obviously, Larry Williams was out anyways, but he's not going to play in the bowl game. What's going on?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I think it's an issue for OSU, but I think this is about to be an issue for all college teams. With the new transfer, with the new redshirt rule, and just kind of how, I mean, I guess you could say society as a whole is now. You know, you just see transfers more often. And so, I mean, it doesn't look good for OSU, but at the same time, I think this is going to be something that a lot of teams are going to have to deal with now just because of the way the rules are put together now.
With all due respect to Darian Daniels, Jalen McCluskey, and J.D. King, everyone's saying, "Oh, Darian's the locker room leader, the emotional leader." Well, we're still 6-6. So what are we really losing here? With all, I mean, he's a great player, but no matter what, after 4 years, these guys are out the door. If he would have been healthy, he was out the door anyways.
Right. And Daniels, to me, that didn't surprise me as much. Even the week after he got hurt for the season, it was kind of weird when it was mentioned in the press conference. Gundy right away mentioned, yeah, he could transfer too. And it was kind of like, well, nobody even asked about him transferring. So it was almost like maybe they had a little idea that Darian wasn't going to be back. But J.D. King, I think that's the one that sticks out to me because, you know, now they're down to 3 scholarship running backs. You got Chuba Hubbard, L.D. Brown, and then Jamil Jeter, and we don't know what he is. I mean, nobody's seen him play. He's, you know, I mean, that's not knocking him. We don't know what they're going to get from him. So I think that's big, and, you know, it kind of is interesting to me because I believe he's going to Georgia Southern. That's what I saw. Yeah. And so, you know, he obviously, I guess, felt like he wasn't going to get a chance here, which Chuba Hubbard obviously had taken, you know, over that spot once Justice left. But I don't know. That one's going to hurt because, you know, at that running back position, if you have injuries, you know, you're kind of putting yourself in a tough situation if they don't get somebody to commit here soon.
Yeah, do you kind of see, you mentioned it, like you think all teams are going to have to deal with that. Do you think Gundy's going to have to change his approach to recruiting, or just coaches in general are going to have to change their approach to recruiting, knowing that these kids can sit out for only playing 4 games and then get out of there if they don't like the situation?
I do, and I think coaches are going to have to change, you know, their philosophy on playing young guys. I think coaches are going to have to, you know, be cognizant of maybe a key player that isn't getting to play much as they'd like. You know, I mean, I think coaches are going to have to change everything. I mean, it's kind of one of those situations where they're going to have to change what they're used to doing because it is so easy now to transfer. And with the rules are set up to where really if you transfer, it's not that much of a punishment. I mean, I guess if you're an underclassman, you still have to sit out a year. But if you haven't played 4 games, or if you've played 4 games or less, you don't get docked a year of eligibility. Right. So, you know, I don't know. I think it's something to watch. And and obviously when you go 6-6 and have a disappointing year, everything's going to be magnified. And then on top of that, more people are going to want to leave because, I mean, it's just, you know, you're not going to see as many transfers from OU this year as you are from OSU.
Yeah.
So if you had, you know, Mike Gundy, as you talked about, maybe that's just society, it's college football. Sometimes, to be honest, I don't think Mike Gundy handles it the best way. He doesn't always say the right things, and certainly I don't either. He's just, you know, he's in the media. We see it from him. How do you think the program has handled that internally with, like you said, it's across all college football. This is not an Oklahoma State Stillwater problem, but how do you think they've handled what they've been able to do with these transfers?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny, like when Gundy went on his rant about transfers, and honestly, I can see where he's coming from. I mean, it is true that, you know, what he's saying about just society today, that, you know, it is easier to transfer than it used to be. It's easier to just, you know, society accepts somebody just leaving and going somewhere else because they weren't playing. But at the same time, then you look at OSU and you think, okay, well, Tyron Johnson transferred to your program. So are you saying that about Tyron Johnson because he came here? You know, OSU has been helped by transfers. And, you know, Johnson comes to mind right off the bat, but there's been others too that have been successful. And so I think that whole situation could have been handled better. You know, sometimes, even though, you know, me personally, I kind of see what he's saying and I agree with parts of what he's saying, but you have to look at all sides of it and you have to think, oh, you know, yeah, we're losing some guys to transfer and they're maybe not sticking it out like they should, but our, you know, arguably our second best receiver is a transfer that chose our program and is helping us out. So I don't know. It's kind of it's a really interesting development in college football as a whole, and I think it's I don't think they really figured all of this was going to happen when they made that rule. You know, so now it's kind of like this is the first real year of it here, and it's gonna. I mean, once the season ends, who knows? I mean, it could be just, you know, a ton of people transferring. I don't know what it's going to be like. Nobody knows. So,
this could be.
It's going to turn into a free agency
kind
of situation.
Really, it's almost, you know, they have that database that people enter their name into, and it's going to, I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting to watch.
The NCAA is a nightmare, but it is what it is, and you've got to deal with it now. You're talking about those transfers. I mean, Enoch Smith Jr. is a transfer who's really stepped up. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, and I don't necessarily knock a guy for leaving if they're not going to get playing time. Go get your playing time while you can, because in 20 years, these fans are not going to say, hey, thank you for sticking around on that sideline in case somebody got hurt. No, that's a load of crap. Go get your play where you can if you want to. I don't knock that. I don't have a problem with it. Maybe if it's borderline and it's something, you know, you're leaving for a childish reason, but Mawaniki, you know, he wasn't going to play, and that was very evident. So go get what you need to, and I don't have a problem with that. But that's just my opinion, and that's why I don't run the NCAA. But maybe I should, because they can't get anything else figured out.
They can make money. They're good at that.
They do that, yeah they do. Rack up some money.
Yeah, Wade, we talked about 6-6 on the season. You covered the team, right? Can you just kind of describe what your thoughts on the whole season were going into the bowl game?
It was the definition of a roller coaster season was this Oklahoma State team. I mean, I don't, you know, looking through some numbers before I came on here, I mean, you look at it, the offense, their end of season statistics, they average 38 points a game, they have 192 rushing yards a game, and just under 308 passing yards a game. They averaged over 8 yards a pass and just under 5 yards a rush. So, you know, just under 5 yards a rush, that is really good.
That's efficient, yeah.
That's very really good. Taylor Cornelius, 3,600 yards, or 3,642 yards, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
That's really good.
I mean, those offensive statistics are really good, but they're 6-6, and you think back to certain games, and you're like, how do they have those statistics when, you know, we watched them at K-State.
12 points.
I mean, that's always 12 points at K-State.
That's the one that makes me shudder every time is that K-State game.
Okay. And then TCU, I mean, that last game of the year, that was ugly too. They were just didn't really look interested. Defensively, you know, and part of the reason I put those stats down and I didn't put down any defensive stats is the offense caught most of the heat this year, I feel like. You know, people mentioned the defense wasn't playing good, but the offense caught a lot of the heat. And, you know, in their losses, they gave up an average of 39 points a game. And, I mean, that's just not good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, Taylor Cornelius, you know, he was not a perfect quarterback by any means, but he was not the reason they had a 6-6 season. And I think, you know, so much was made about Gundy picking Cornelius and him and Yurcich, you know, refusing to play Sanders, that people really failed to look at the, you know, big picture and see where this team had multiple flaws. It was not just at the quarterback spot. You know, going into next year, they lose their entire defensive line, which Jordan Brelford, that's a big loss.
Yeah.
Other than that, you know, you didn't really have many guys make a huge impact. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, secondary-wise, if you want to look at the glass half full, for most of the season you had 3 safeties. 2 of them were freshmen, and Colby Peel and Jarek Bernard, and then a sophomore in Malcolm Rodriguez. And then you had 2 corners that are going to return for what will be their 3rd season to start. Glass half empty, they weren't very good. So which way do you want to look at it?
That was a lot easier.
Which way? I mean, they didn't put up very good numbers this year, but they were young. And in their defense, they were in a brand new system.
Right.
So you not only had a brand new system, but you had 3 young safeties.
Right.
And I mean, that's tough. So I do expect the secondary to be a lot better next year.
Yeah. And
you would think.
They got better as the year went on.
And yeah, they did. And it was with the secondary, you know, they tried to move Kenneth Edison Magruder to a safety spot, and throughout the year, it was kind of like they were trying to play him because he was a senior, and he made plays at times, but, you know, it kind of seemed like as the year progressed, you saw more and more of that trio of Peel, Bernard, and Rodriguez, you know, 2 freshmen and a sophomore. And I think, and that's part of the reason Waniki transferred, because he knew that. He saw that. I mean, he lost his spot to, you know, some young guys. So I think there is the possibility for some excitement with that secondary next year. But they're going to have to prove it because, I mean, they didn't really prove it this year.
No, I mean, I think you brought up a great point, is that a lot of those guys in that secondary playing in a high school system, and then you bring in an incredibly complex 4-2-5 that is very hard. They had to simplify that playbook halfway through the season, and once they did, you started seeing it click a little more. So I think the future is very bright for that secondary when they can have now, you know, 20 bowl practices in spring football and then fall camp, and they've already got a year under their belt. Yeah, that defensive line's going to need some work and some experience when we get into these things, but I'm pretty excited about that secondary.
Yeah, I really think there's potential there. And, you know, the 6-6 going to the Liberty Bowl, not a ton of excitement around that, but it's huge for this team, and especially for that defense, because, you know, that's 20 more practices that these guys get to practice. It's 20 more practices that they get to work in that system. Because, I mean, you know, OU's had the same defensive system for how long, and look at how much they struggle defensively.
Right. Yeah.
Try playing defense in the Big 12 with a new system and young guys who have never played Division I college football. When you look at it that way, you kind of think, okay, I can see why these guys may have struggled a little bit. And so I think there's the chance, if, you know, you would think through bowl practices, a bowl game, winter workout, spring football, you think there should be progression there. And if there is progression, I think that secondary has the potential to be pretty good next year.
What kind of team are we going to see in this bowl game? Are we going to see the K-State OSU, or are we going to see the West Virginia, Texas, and Bedlam OSU team?
If you need your crystal ball.
Yeah, if I knew, I could probably be a pretty rich man, because, you know, Gundy has said multiple times this year, after a bad game or whatever, he'll tell the media, if I knew how to fix it, this whole, you know, play great one week, play terrible one week, I would have. Like, you know, I mean, that's been the whole story of this season, is you just never know what team's going to show up. You would hope you get a motivated team who wants to, you know, end the year with a win and have some momentum going into the off season, but, you know, you could get TCU, K-State also.
If they get TCU, K-State with Drew Lock, it's going to get ugly. But hopefully the good team shows up. We're going to take a quick break, come back. Wade's going to stay around for one more segment, talk about Cowboy wrestling. We'll be right back on 101 Ocean Super Indy KXUI, Sudlink Channel 112.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Air National Guard. Contact Oklahoma Air National Guard at 800-GO-TO-ANG or visit their website at goang.com/OK for more information about how to get 100% college tuition. And Unitarian Universalist Church. If you're looking for a church home, visit Unitarian Universalist Church of Stillwater, located at 320 South Stallard Street. They offer an alternative spiritual path and welcome all races, religions, and beliefs. They are also LGBTQ friendly. Services every Sunday at 10:30. We'll be right back.
Stillwater Medical Center now offers a convenient way to view your health information online. It's secure, easy, and free. Our hospital and clinic patient portals allow you to view results and reports, medications and allergies, track visit histories, view upcoming appointment information, and see your statements. To enroll, go to stillwatermedical.com and click on the patient portal link near the top right of the page. If you have questions, please feel free to call 405-533-6010.
Welcome back to One-on-One on Ocean Student Radio, KCY Suddenly, Channel 112. Joined by Wade Haugen for another segment. Our best segment as a university, because Cowboy Wrestling is our one. There is not another winning.
Yeah.
It's the winningest program in NCAA history. But there's that one school up north in Pennsylvania that they just dominated college wrestling. So I put on here, is this a bounce back year? Because at Nationals last year was a disappointing year for the Cowboys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they let that be known from everybody you've talked to. I mean, it's pretty clear that what they did last year is not the norm, and that's not the standard they're going to hold themselves to. And I think one thing they kind of have going for them is that they have a lot of guys, or about half the lineup returning from last year, that they haven't forgot how this season ended, and so they have guys that are returning, that are very motivated, and then you mix that with some newcomers that have done very well so far. So I think they're poised for a pretty good year.
So last year, Coach Smith, they're coming off that disappointing performance, and maybe the guy that we all look to get that national championship and dominate was Dean Heil, and I mean, that is just not what we got at all. So now you bring in a guy like Dayton Fix, who didn't lose a match at Sand Springs. I mean, he's been dominant on the world stage, but there's other guys on this team. What weights do you expect Oklahoma State to dominate, and who's kind of the leader of the team if they get in a situation like they did last year to kind of rally everyone together?
Well, they're really good at their bottom three weights. Nick Piccinini won a Big 12 title. He's back at 125. You mentioned Fix at 133. I mean, he's just a stud. I mean, he's just one of those rare. I mean, his match against Wyoming, he won 3-0, and it was maybe the most entertaining match of the day. And really, nothing was even done. But he just his quickness is, you have to see it in person to really appreciate it. And then at 141, Fix is at 133. 141's Cade Brock, and he had a really good year last season, and he's back as a Stillwater native. He's back for another year. So, those bottom 3 weights are going to kind of carry them. And then they have some veterans at the higher weights. You have at 164 Chandler Rogers and 175 Jacoby Smith. And they actually had kind of disappointing matches against Wyoming, and Coach Smith afterwards was pretty disappointed in them. But yesterday we talked to him, and he said they've rebounded nicely. And so, the thing, and they've mentioned the chemistry of this team as something that makes it so strong. And I think the reason for that is what I mentioned earlier. They have the right mix of newcomers who are really excited about it, and people coming back that are motivated from how the last season ended, and I think that's going to help them out a lot.
What do you expect from these Edinboro transfers? 2 guys coming over, which is kind of rare. 2 people from the same school, at Dakota Greer and Andrew Chalmers. What are they going to wrestle at all this season? What do you see from those transfers? Are they just kind of waiting in the wings?
No, they both wrestled against Wyoming. I know Gear. They both were in the lineup against Wyoming, and as far as we know, they're going to be in the lineup for Bedlam. Coach Smith, he mentioned that both of them, they kind of have that East Coast toughness to them, and they're also both really excited for this season because they come from Edinboro, which I've never heard of until this season. Yeah. So I don't know much about it, but I do know Dakota Gear, after the first match at GIA, when he was asked, what was it like, and he, just lit up because he was used to wrestling in front of like 130 people, and he's in GIA, quite possibly one of the best wrestling atmospheres there is. And so I expect those guys to have really good seasons, especially just because I think having been at a smaller school, they realize the opportunity they have wrestling at OSU.
You mentioned that Bedlam match on Sunday, and I have a certain. You cover wrestling for the Ocali, so I'll say it. Lou Rosselli needs to get a clue. He needs to get a clue. He is. I don't know the word for him. He's intimidated. He's scared, and he's disrespectful to Bedlam, is what I would say of Lou Rosselli, because he won't wrestle Oklahoma State twice, because they can't compete with Oklahoma State. The Bedlam wrestling is so far in Oklahoma State's favor, it's worse than football. And obviously the numbers help that you are supposed to do it 2 times a year. For 100 years, it seems like, up until last year, we wrestled twice. If I'm John Smith, I'm telling these guys, this is your chance. Because they're going to have to see you twice, once now and in Big 12s. They don't want to see you 3 times. And it's Lou Rosselli who... he shut this thing down. Yeah. He won't wrestle twice, and to me, I think it's pretty disrespectful. But that's my take on it. I don't know how anyone else feels about it, but I think it's pretty ridiculous that they don't wrestle twice.
Well, and Coach Smith was asked about that yesterday. He made it known he wants to wrestle twice, and you could tell, and just from talking to some people that are around the program quite a bit, he's not happy about the situation. I mean, and he didn't come out necessarily say that straightforward yesterday, but you could tell, he's wanting to wrestle him twice a year, and OSU leads that series 140-27 with 10 ties, by the way.
I love that stat.
So that's and they have not lost in GIA to OU dating back to 95. So they have definitely dominated that. I don't know what all is going on behind the scenes with that situation, but the term Bedlam came from wrestling. That's where the Bedlam rivalry name came from. And so of all the sports, you shouldn't be cutting cutting short of, what they're supposed to be doing each year. And so I do think it's kind of funny that they don't want to wrestle twice, but the one time they do wrestle, it's on ESPNU. So it's kind of like,
that's good.
Okay, we'll wrestle once, but the one time we do, we're going to put it on national television.
Everyone's got to see it.
Yeah.
Give us your predictions for that match on Sunday.
I think I would expect OSU to win pretty big.
Yeah.
I think OU is going to be more competitive this year than they were last year. But I just, you kind of, a situation like this, OSU so often, they're the hunted in wrestling. I mean, they never hardly ever go into a match without being the clear and away favorite.
Right.
And they're the clear and away favorite in this one too, but they're motivated. They're, you know, they have a little chip on their shoulder, and they have a reason to be extra motivated for this. So with the program they have, I see them winning big.
Does OU win any weight?
I don't know a whole lot about OU's team, but I'll tell you this: it wouldn't surprise me if OSU swept every match.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I mean,
Wade's
it wouldn't
coming and bringing
surprise
with the
me.
good news.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Bedlam in wrestling?
I have not.
I have not either.
I'm kind of worried about the snow and what it's going to do. But 2 years ago, it was on a Friday night.
Yeah. Most
electric sporting event I've ever been to. It was incredible because, I mean, you just have all these older fans they've watched dominance their entire life, and they are
wrestling. When you go to a duel, it's a different type of crowd. It's like the people that go there, they've been going to OSU wrestling matches for a long time. Yeah. It's like they all know each other. You know, you see them walking in, they're waving at each other. It's really pretty cool, and it's an exciting year for OSU wrestling because they do have OU at home, and they also have Iowa coming to Stillwater, which that's in the spring semester, so it's a ways away, but that's going to be a really big match.
When is that match with Iowa?
It is. I want to say it's in February. I don't have the exact date. I didn't put that down. We can look that up, though.
Well,
that's going to be a big one.
That'll be a big one. Well, we got to get out of here. Hopefully, get out to Galgaraiba at 2:30.
12:30.
12:30. Man, on Sunday to take on OU and Bedlam Wrestling. Thank you for coming on so much.
Thank you all for having me.
We'll be back on Friday for our final show of the semester. Thank you so much for watching 101 on OSU Super 8 KXUI Suddenlink Channel 112.
Future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
CAS prepares you to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.